Hi guys, Sean here. I just finished watching Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and so I'm going to complete my series of Star Wars reviews. This review will be in 5 sections. Overall history of the movie, general thoughts, things I liked, things I hate, my final thoughts, and then my thoughts and speculations on Episode 8. So, I'm going to start with the overall history of this movie. So let's see. Um, there were ideas for this movie back after Return of the Jedi, but for some reason George decided not to do the movies, and decided to do um, these three instead, which I've already reviewed, and I quite enjoyed these three. But then in October 2012, George sold Lucasfilm to Disney, which means they got basically creative. They got control of all 6 movies, I think, or at least the future of the series, and George's story treatments for for the sequel trilogy. Although for some reason they decided not to use any of his treatments, don't know why, but they didn't. And so they hired Toy Story 3 writer Michael Arndt, I believe I pronounced that name right, to write the original rough draft of the script, and then eventually Arndt, I think, left the project. And so once J.J. Abrams, director of the last 2 Star Trek movies, had signed on to direct the movie, he and Star Wars veteran Lawrence Kasdan came in and rewrote the script. And so we have the movie we have now. And also, this was supposed to be the last Star Wars movie released, which I'm kind of wishing it was. But this was supposed to be the last movie released. However, like I said, it's 2012. George sold Lucasfilm to Disney, and they announced Episode 7 along with multiple other movies. But anyway, section number 2. That was history. Section number 2. My general thoughts. Now, I do like this movie. I think it's really good. In my opinion, it's not as good as the other 6 movies, but it's still entertaining for what it is. So those are my general thoughts. Things I liked. I do like the I'm going to borrow a term that Adam J said, the internal plot of this movie. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I should kind of let you guys know what the story of this movie is. So it's set 30 years after Return of the Jedi. It follows new characters Rey, Finn, and Poe Dameron's fight with the Resistance, led by veterans of the Rebel Force Rebel Alliance against Kylo Ren and the First Order, which descended from the Galactic Empire. That's pretty much Wikipedia's phrasing of the plot. So yeah, my things I liked is the internal plot, which is what I just said, and also the whole idea of everybody and their mother. Yeah, it's a phrase. Everybody looking for Luke, because after the events of Return of the Jedi, Luke tried to, I guess, restart the Jedi Order, and then what happened was eventually one of his Padawans turned against him and kind of ruined everything. And so Luke, feeling guilty for that, kind of went into exile, although some people assume he was just looking for the first Jedi Temple. So this movie's basically everybody, looking for Luke, trying to find him, and basically the Resistance, formed from the Rebel Alliance, want Luke to come back and help them beat the First Order. However, the First Order is looking for Luke because primarily they want to, kill him because he's the last Jedi. And pretty much the last remnants of the Old Republic, I think. Anyway, so I like that plot. I like the internal plot. And I like the new characters. I like Ren. I like Finn. I like Poe, even though Poe's not really given much screen time in this movie. And I do like BB-8. I think BB-8 is a cool character. They do give him more personality than they ever did with R2 and 3PO. Although R2 and 3PO are in this movie. Awesome. So yeah, I do like that stuff. So I like the internal plot. I like the new characters. And I did like J.J. Abrams directing this movie because I did like the last 2 Star Trek movies. And I also like that they brought back the original cast members. Um, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher. Let's see, they have Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca again. So yeah, and they have Anthony Daniels. I think Kenny Baker's in this too. And then they have Warwick Davis appears in this movie, but not as himself, as like a CG character or something. So yeah, I like that they brought the original characters back. And they mixed in the new people, which I thought was awesome. So that's the stuff I like. Now on to the stuff I hate. Because I am very mixed on this movie. I both like and hate this movie. Well, I do like this movie, but there is still stuff I don't like in it, which is why I think it's the lowest in the series for me. So, for the stuff I hate. Okay. So, to the external plot of this movie. Person puts information in droid that is connected to an ancient Jedi. Droid is put in the hands of an orphan on a desert planet who has somewhat of a connection to the Force. They team up with an old mentor-type character. Mentor-type character eventually is killed by lightsaber in an area with a catwalk and killed by a family member, I guess you say. Let's see, what else? So yeah, mentor killed by lightsaber. The Resistance, in this case, goes to destroy the First Order's planet-destroying weapon, and etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I just pretty much explained the plot of this. Yes, that is the problem with this movie. It is a complete rehash of Episode 4. And that's not just me saying it. Everybody has said that. Now, there's more rehash to that. Okay, the planet Jakku is basically just a desert planet. You could have called that Tatooine. You did not need to call it fucking Jakku. I'm sorry. But, and Simon Pegg's character, let me see what his name is. Blah, 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 blah. Unkar Palette. He's the junkyard dealer on Jakku. Yeah, his character is basically Watto from these two movies. Simon Pegg's character is basically Watto from these two movies. Junkyard dealer on Desert Planet. Ugh. Okay, and then you have, let's see, what else? And then you have the way Han, oh yes, spoiler, Han dies in this movie. But here, okay, and I don't care if Kasdan wanted it done. I don't care if Ford wanted it done. Killing Han in the way they did, again, this. Not to mention, they rub it in the ground by having Rey yell no, just like Luke did in Episode 4. So the scene basically plays out just like this, except switch Kylo Ren with Vader and switch Obi-Wan with Han. Ugh. And not to mention Han's death. With Han's death, we don't even get like a memorial or anything. We don't get time to grieve. No, because God forbid we gotta rip off the rest of Episode 4 in other movies. And I don't like the character of Kylo Ren. I'm sorry, but I get they want to create a conflicted, sympathetic villain, but I just don't give a crap about him. I'm sorry. But I just don't give a crap about him, because at the slightest mention of something going wrong, he breaks out his pointless accelerator lightsaber and then goes ape shit on a wall, destroying it for no reason. And it's like, oh. And the line that Rey says that he will never be as powerful as Darth Vader or whatever. Congratulations, honey, you got that right. He's never going to be as good as Darth Vader. Oh. Although I find something funny is that Daniel Craig, the current actor who plays James Bond, makes a cameo as a stormtrooper, and it's the one that Rey tries to use the Jedi mind trick on. That I thought was funny. So yeah, I thought that was funny. Um, yeah, that's just stuff I hate, I guess. I mean, I could go into more, but I don't want this video to go really long. So my final thoughts. I like this movie. I think it is the worst. Even though I do like this movie, I think it's the worst in the series. I think it's the weakest of them all. Mainly just because of stuff I hated and. Ugh. And apparently they also have Ewan McGregor in this movie is a vocal cameo as Obi-Wan and Rey's vision, although I didn't hear him because I think he was kind of muffled up and whatnot. I think they kind of mixed him with Guinness and Oz together because I couldn't really hear McGregor's voice in this movie. But so I think they combined all three actors into one thing or something. But yeah, and also there's another thing I don't like. When did lightsabers turn into wands from Harry Potter? Because in the Harry Potter movies, and I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but I need to make a point here. In Harry Potter, they say the wand chooses the wizard. Okay. But since when did they establish that a lightsaber chooses a Jedi? Or a potential Jedi, for that matter? It was never mentioned in any of the 6 movies. So, we're just pulling stuff. So, Kasdan and Abrams are just pulling stuff out of their asses. And I know I'm sounding like a rant on this movie, on this video, but I'm sorry, but it's just, there's so many problems with this movie, and people praise this movie when it has very little good in it. It basically rehashes plot points and storylines and whatnot wholesale from their movies, and yet everyone praises it. Riddle me this. Why is it this movie gets trashed for being a rehash of the first movie when Force Awakens is basically just a rehash of this and gets praised? In the words of Robert Downey Jr. from Sherlock Holmes, food for thought. And there's a couple more things I forgot to mention. One of the things I like is John Williams' music. His music I think is really good in this movie, just like it is in the other 6 movies. Like I said, I think in my Hobbit video or my Superman video, that my 2 favorite scores are from John Williams and Howard Shore, who did the Middle Earth movies. Because as far as Star Wars, John Williams is the man. And if it ever comes a point that they do another Star Wars movie and John Williams has passed on, the only composer I think would actually be good to replace him would be John Ottman, who does the X-Men movies and did Superman Returns. Because out of all the movies I've seen of people trying to duplicate Williams' music, John Ottman I think is the closest to do it. So I think if there ever come a time, like say before episode 9, okay, just for the sake of this, say that before episode 9 John Williams passes away, then the only person I can imagine duplicating his music would be John Ottman. So I'm not saying John Williams will pass away before episode 9. It's just an example. Because Williams' music, I think, is hard to duplicate. And Ottman is the only one I've seen to do it right. But another thing I didn't really like was, okay. You have, at the end of the movie, the lightsaber fight between Rey and Kylo Ren, who was, revealed to be Ben Solo. Explain to me this. How is it somebody with no lightsaber training whatsoever can beat Kylo Ren's ass? I'm being serious. Explain that one to me. Okay. So yeah, I think that's about it. And so, please look forward to my reviews of the Spy Kids movies. I will be doing those reviews in 2 parts. One part for the original trilogy, and then the other part for All the Time in the World. And then in a few days, on January 10th, I will be doing my review of the Jim Carrey classic, The Mask. Okay, and I just thought of more ripoffs. I'm sorry, but I keep thinking of more stuff. Okay, there's a scene where when Han and Chewie reclaim the Falcon from Rey and Finn. And I will get to Finn in a second, because I forgot to mention him in my initial part. Where Han runs into two groups of gangsters that he apparently owes money to. Yeah, let's see. We are really going to rehash the plot point of Han owing money to a gangster. Really? Really? Oh. Okay, what else? Let's see what else. Oh, yes. The climax of this movie is basically Han leads a group of good peoples to go knock out the shields of the planet-destroying weapon, while Resistance fighters go in and destroy said weapon. Sound fucking familiar? Oh. And I'm going to talk about Finn in a bit because I didn't really mention him that much, or Poe really, but anyway. I did have one little problem with Finn being a stormtrooper, initially being a stormtrooper, but they do fix that. But I just thought, address it. And I don't mean to sound like a racist asshole. If I come across saying that sound like that, I don't mean to. But okay, being that the prequels are canon, they state in this movie that the stormtroopers were initially created by Jango Fett, played by Tamora Morse, who is a Caucasian. Again, don't mean to sound racist, but if that's the case, if Jango Fett is the creator of the Clone Army, how do you explain a black stormtrooper? But again, don't mean to sound racist, they do fix that by saying that Finn was abducted as a child and raised as a stormtrooper. They fixed that for me, so I thank them for that. Again, didn't mean to sound racist. If I was, I apologize. So again, goodbye. It's like, really? But yeah, just some stuff about this movie. I know it sounds like I'm ranting a lot, but it's just, I had a lot of problems with this movie. I'm sorry, just the rehash stuff. It's like, oh, I can't get over that. But if you guys can, that's fine. More power to you. Please, enjoy the movie if you do. It's just, how does this movie get trashed, and yet this one is praised? When this one does the exact same thing that this does. It annoys me at all. So yeah. But yeah, my final thoughts. I do enjoy this movie for what it is. It's a good Star Wars movie, even though I really didn't think this one really was really needed. Like, we didn't really need this movie to be made, because to be in all honesty, because the story ended perfectly with this. I mean, chronologically, but the story ended perfectly with these two movies. This one chronologically and this one released. So we didn't need any more films, but it is still good for what it is, even with the problems that I had with it. So as far as my thoughts and speculations on episode 8, I really couldn't give you guys any because I don't really know. I hope that they don't. I hope that we get new. I hope we get new stuff, not just rehash again. Because if they do more rehash, I'm just gonna be like, screw the sequel trilogy. I'd be like, I'm out. You know what I mean? So I hope we get a new storyline for the next movie. So yeah, I guess that's all I can say as far as episode 7. I mean, if you guys liked it more than me, that's fine. I don't hate this movie, but I don't really like it. I like this movie. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm just very mixed on this movie, as you could say. So I guess I'll catch you guys later.